Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Ernst Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. The Big 12 championship game between the Oklahoma State Cowboys and the Texas Longhorns is a very important one, especially for Texas. The Longhorns, it is the final year that they're in the Big 12. They're going to be going to the SEC after this, so for them to get a Big 12 championship win in their final year of being in the Big 12 would be huge. Plus, if they beat Oklahoma State, there is a chance Texas can get into the college football playoff. Now, they probably need some help still, even if they do win, because they would need an Oregon loss, they would need a Florida State loss, and an Alabama loss, more than likely, so they would get into the number 4 spot in the college football playoff, but that's still possible. But Texas won't have any chance at all if they do not win, so they have to take care of business. But Texas has slipped up in the past in very important games. And Oklahoma State, they already upset Oklahoma, which was the team that beat the Texas Longhorns. So Oklahoma State is not a team to mess around with, but the Cowboys have lost to UCF and South Alabama this year, so they're very inconsistent, something usually Texas is. So it's going to be wild to see what happens, but me and Will and D, we break down this Big 12 championship game and whether we think that the Cowboys can play spoiler and knock off the Texas Longhorns in their final game in the Big 12 conference, or whether the Texas Longhorns will take care of business against the Cowboys, not get upset, and have a shot to make the college football playoff with a Big 12 championship win.
We have the Big 12 championship game. Will Texas blow it again against Oklahoma State?
The thing is, it's funny because of the fact that you would argue that Texas, it's more important if they show up, if Texas plays well. Because Texas has a propensity to play poorly at times. We saw the TCU game. We saw the Kansas State game. We saw the Iowa State game where they struggled. The Houston game as well. Texas has had multiple performances this year where they could have lost, and they would be out of the playoff conversation. Yes, they beat Bama. That was a huge win on the road. Milroe was not being used to his fullest potential at the time, but still, all credit to Texas for getting that win. They lost to Oklahoma, but other than that, they only have the one loss. But I would argue, Will, that it is more important how Oklahoma State plays. It's not how Texas plays, because they should at least score 30. More than likely. They'll get 31, 35. Even if they have kind of an average day, they'll probably get that many points. But what Oklahoma State team are we going to get? Are we going to get the team that went out there and beat Oklahoma, or are we going to get the team that lost to UCF 45-3? The team early in the year that lost to South Alabama. The team that just barely beat BYU, a team that's not making a bowl game. That's the key. Oklahoma State is fickle. Sometimes they play very well and they look like a top 15 team, and then other times they don't. Ollie Gordon, all credit to him, because he's been carrying that team. It's not that Bowman's playing bad all around. He's had moments of great football, but you see his touchdown to pick ratio, 10 touchdowns, 11 picks, which I think is what causes the inconsistencies for the Cowboys, because some of his performances this year have not been that great, but when he plays well, the team can be dangerous. And I think Oklahoma State's going to play hard because they're going to want to play spoiler. You know they want to play spoiler, beat the Longhorns on their way out before they go to the SEC. So I expect the Cowboys to play an extremely tight game with Texas, even though they are a 14.5-point underdog. But I'm going to go with Texas to beat Oklahoma State 35-31. I almost didn't pick them. I really did, because Texas, again, has blown so many big games in the past. And the fact that they're this close to winning the Big 12 and possibly being able to go to the playoff if teams ahead of them lose, there's a shot they throw it away. Ewers can be inconsistent. The team can be inconsistent. But they look like they're on a mission beating Texas Tech the way they did. And Oklahoma State is so inconsistent, even more than Texas is. And Bowman might have a couple too many mistakes. Ollie Gordon on the ground is going to be dangerous. But Texas's D-line might be able to contain him more than other teams have. I'm going to go with Texas to win a tight one, 35-31.
Texas, they look like they're actually doing it. They look like they're going to do it. But there's that part of me that I'm like, okay, they're going to Texas it. But I will pick, I don't know, man. Texas looks impressive. I'll go Texas 42-31 over Oklahoma State. I do think that they'll get it done.
Imagine, Will, if Texas had to beat Texas Tech by like 3. If it was like a
And
35 to 32 type of game, something like that, everybody would be going Cowboys right now. It'd be like everyone's upset pick of the week. But since they blew out Tech, that's giving people the confidence just enough that the Longhorns won't Texas it up, as you said.
Just enough. Yeah, I'll go. I'll go for the Longhorns. I think they'll make the playoff. I think they'll get in.
Well, I mean, they could still not get in if they win, because if you think about the scenarios, if Alabama beats Georgia, that does not help Texas. I know some people say it would because they got the win over them, but Alabama beating Georgia would be a more impressive win than Texas's win over Alabama. I know that sounds insane, but it would.
That would be so messed. That would be ridiculous.
Alabama would probably pass them. You don't think they
No
would?
way.
If Alabama beat Georgia, they're not passing Texas.
Do that. No friggin' way, man. People would freak the heck out.
So you're telling me that if it came down to Texas and Alabama,
it should be head to head. It should be head to head.
But Alabama's got the better win.
But they
would be beating a team that has not lost in 3 years.
They lost to Texas head to head. They lost. We've seen it play out before. We should go by that.
You knew you were gonna rile me up with that APR score. I knew I would rile you up if I brought this up. Man, I hope it happens. I hope Texas and Alabama, I hope both of them come down to the last playoff spot. Because if they do, oh my goodness, it's going to be an uproar either way. Because Alabama fans are going to be like, we beat Georgia. No team's beat them in 3 years, and you're going to leave us out? How could you do that? And then if Texas gets left out, be like, we beat them head to head. How could you do that? It's going to be unreal. The meltdown would be unreal on either side if that happened. We'll see. You could be right, Will. I'm not saying the head-to-head doesn't matter. And if Texas gets in, I'm happy for Texas. I really am. But if Bama beats Georgia and it comes down to those two teams, Alabama has to be considered because of that win. Would be so impressive beating Georgia. But we'll see. Maybe the scenario won't even happen. Bama could lose. Texas could lose. Might not even happen. Both teams could lose. But if that scenario happened, I would be interested to see what the committee would do.
Mm-hmm. All right. Can I acknowledge the chat?
If Alabama will Ohio State is a real argument to be above Texas, says I'm 0. Oh, man. I don't know about that, though, because Texas would have a Big 12 championship. Ohio State would not have anything.
I still think Alabama's a better team than Penn State.
Hamasiro said that devalues Texas's win over Bama, equaling with Ohio State over Penn State, and then Texas had no other win like Notre Dame. That and their loss would be worse. Well, I mean, Texas, though, if Bama lost a close one to Georgia, I would still think the committee would value Bama over Penn State. I don't know. I mean, you could be right, Hamasiro. You know, you're an Ohio State fan. Just root for Texas and Bama to lose. Just root for them all to go down. Florida State to go down. Then you can get in. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Comment down below what you think about the Oklahoma State versus Texas Big 12 championship game and whether you believe that the Cowboys can upset the Longhorns or if you think Texas will take care of business and have a shot to make the college football playoff with a Big 12 championship win. And what you think about me and Will and D's pick for this Big 12 championship game. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I will see you next time.